The station lights were dim. They always got dim during the night cycle when most workers went to sleep and the machines ran on low power. Walked through the long metal hallway with heavy steps. His body hurt. His eyes were half closed. He had worked for 16 hours without a real break. Was a cargo technician on the orbital station called Horizon. The station floated high above Earth, a giant ring of metal and glass where humans and aliens lived together. It was not a friendly place. It was a place of work, of trade, of quiet tension between species that did not fully trust each other. He had been moving heavy containers all day. His back ached. His hands were sore. All he wanted was to fall into his bed and sleep for 100 years. He did not want to think. He did not want to talk. He just wanted rest. The hallway seemed longer than usual. Or maybe he was just too tired to notice how far he had walked. The numbers on the doors passed by in a blur. 44B, 45B, 46B. He stopped at the next door. Room 47B. He pressed his hand against the panel. The door made a soft sound and slid open, stepped inside without looking. The door closed behind him with a quiet hiss. The room was dark. That was strange. He always left a small light on, but he was too tired to care. He took 2 steps forward and then stopped. Something was wrong. The air smelled different. It was not bad, but it was not familiar. There was a soft, sweet smell, like flowers he had never seen before, and the room felt bigger than it should. His small quarters were cramped and full of things. This room felt open and empty. Blinked, his tired eyes tried to adjust to the darkness, and then he saw her. A woman sat in a chair by the window. The window showed the stars outside, thousands of tiny lights against the black sky. The woman's skin was very pale, almost white, like fresh snow. Her hair was long and dark, falling past her shoulders like a river of ink. And her eyes were silver. They caught the starlight and glowed softly in the darkness. She was not human. His heart jumped. He took a step back, but his back hit the closed door. The woman did not move. She just watched him with those strange, beautiful eyes. Her face showed no anger, no fear, only curiosity. I am sorry, said. His voice came out rough and tired. Wrong room. I am in the wrong room. The woman tilted her head slightly. It was a small movement, almost like a bird. She studied him for a long moment, felt like she was looking right through him, seeing things he could not hide. You are human, she said. Her voice was soft and smooth, like water flowing over stones. There was a slight accent to her words, but her speech was clear. Yes, said, I am human. I am a worker here, cargo section. I made a mistake. My room is. He stopped. Where was his room? His tired brain tried to remember. My room is on the other side. Section C. I walked to the wrong section. He had been so tired that he went to the wrong part of the station. Section B was for diplomatic guests, important visitors, aliens who came to talk and trade with humans. He should not be here. He could get in serious trouble for this. I will leave now, said quickly. He turned to the door panel, ready to open it and run away. His hand was shaking a little, not from fear exactly, more from the shock of the situation. Wait. The word was soft, but it stopped him completely. Turned back to look at the woman. She had risen from her chair. She was tall, taller than him by several inches. Her body was slim and graceful. She wore a simple dress that flowed around her like mist. You are tired, she said. It was not a question, it was a statement of fact. Yes, admitted. There was no point in lying. His exhaustion was probably written all over his face. Your kind works very hard, the woman said. She took a step closer to him. Her movements were smooth and silent. I have watched your people on this station. You are always moving, always doing something. You do not rest. Did not know what to say. He just stood there, his back against the door, looking up at this strange alien woman. My people call themselves, she said. My name is, I chose a human name when I came here. It was easier for your kind to say. Repeated, It was a pretty name, a Korean name like his own. He wondered why she had chosen it. "And what is your name, tired human?" she asked. He said, "My name is." She said slowly, tasting the word, "I like it, it sounds like music." Felt his face grow warm. He was not used to compliments, especially not from alien diplomats in dark rooms. He wanted to leave. He knew he should leave, but something kept him standing there. "I should go," he said again, but his voice was weaker this time. "Why?" asked. She was standing only a few feet away now. This close he could see more details. Her skin was smooth and flawless. Her silver eyes had tiny flecks of blue in them like stars in a silver sky. She was beautiful in a way that was hard to describe. Not human beautiful, something else, something more. "Because this is your room," said, "and I do not belong here." Was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. It was a small smile, just a slight curve of her pale lips, but it changed her whole face. She looked less like a distant star and more like a real person. "Perhaps," she said softly, "or perhaps you are exactly where you should be." Did not understand what she meant, but before he could ask, she turned and walked back to her chair by the window. She sat down and looked out at the stars. "Sit," she said, pointing to another chair nearby. "Rest your body, you look like you might fall down." Knew he should refuse. He knew he should open the door and leave and forget this ever happened. But his legs were so tired, and the chair looked so comfortable. And there was something about this woman, that made him want to stay. He walked slowly to the chair and sat down. His body sank into the soft material with relief. He let out a long breath he did not know he was holding. "Thank you," he said quietly. Turned her silver eyes to him. In the starlight she looked like something from an old story, a goddess, a spirit, something not quite real. "You are welcome," she said. "Now rest, we have all night." And somehow in that moment was not afraid anymore. The chair was softer than anything had ever sat on. It seemed to hold his body perfectly, supporting every tired muscle and aching bone. He wanted to close his eyes and sleep right there, but he could not with those silver eyes watching him. Sat across from him, her gaze steady and calm. She did not look at him the way other aliens looked at humans. There was no fear in her eyes, no disgust, no superiority. She looked at him like he was a puzzle she wanted to solve. "You must have many questions," she said. Nodded slowly. He had thousands of questions, but his tired brain could only find one. "Why did you not tell me to leave?" he asked. Was quiet for a moment. She turned her head to look out the window at the stars. The light made her pale skin glow like moonlight. "My people can sense things," she said finally. "Emotions, feelings, we feel what others feel. It is how we are." Had heard something about this. They were known for being sensitive to the emotions of other beings. It made them excellent diplomats. They could tell when someone was lying or hiding something. It also made them keep their distance from other species. Too many emotions could be overwhelming for them. "When you walked through that door," continued, "I felt your exhaustion. Your tiredness went deep into your bones, into your soul. But I felt something else too." "What?" asked. "Warmth," she said simply. She turned back to look at him. "Your kind has such warmth inside, even when you are tired, even when you are broken. There is always this fire burning in you. I have never understood it." Did not know what to say. He had never thought of himself as warm. He was just a worker, a simple man who moved boxes and containers for a living. There was nothing special about him. "I have been on this station for 3 months," said. "In all that time I have stayed in this room, alone. My people told me to be careful around humans. They said you were dangerous, unpredictable. They said your emotions were too strong, too wild, too painful to be near." She paused and looked down at her hands. They were long and elegant, with fingers like pale branches. "So I stayed away," she said. "I did my work through screens and calls. I never met anyone face to face. I ate alone. I slept alone. I watched the stars alone." felt a strange feeling in his chest. It was not pity exactly. It was something deeper, something sadder. "That sounds lonely," he said softly. Looked up at him. For a moment he thought he saw something in her silver eyes, something vulnerable, something real. "It is," she admitted, "very lonely." They sat in silence for a while. Outside the window, the stars moved slowly as the station rotated. Watched them dance across the dark sky. He thought about his own life on the station. He had friends, sort of. Other workers he ate lunch with sometimes. But he lived alone too. He worked long hours and came home to an empty room. He had not talked to his family on Earth in months. He was lonely too in his own way. "Tell me about your home," said suddenly. Blinked. "My home." "Earth," she said. "Tell me about Earth. I have read files and reports, but they are just words and numbers. I want to know what it feels like." Thought about Earth. He had not been back in 2 years. His contract on the station was long and trips home were expensive, but he still remembered it. He remembered it every day. "Earth is," he started, then stopped. "How do you describe a whole world? Earth is alive, everything there is alive. The trees, the grass, the water, you can feel it breathing around you." Leaned forward slightly. Her silver eyes were bright with interest. "We have rain," continued. "Water that falls from the sky. It is cold and wet and it makes everything clean. When I was young, I used to run outside when it rained. My mother would get angry, but I did not care. I loved the feeling of rain on my face." "Rain," repeated softly. "We do not have rain on my world. Water comes from underground rivers. I have never felt water fall from above." "It is the best feeling," said. A small smile came to his face as he remembered. "And after the rain stops, sometimes there is a rainbow. It is like a bridge made of colors in the sky. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, all of them together." "A bridge of colors," whispered. Her voice was full of wonder. "That sounds beautiful." "It is," said. "I have not seen one in a long time. There are no rainbows in space." They talked more after that. Found himself telling her things he had not told anyone in years. He told her about his family, his mother who loved to cook, his father who worked in the rice fields, his little sister who wanted to be a doctor. He told her about the small house where he grew up, with its wooden walls and thin doors. He told her about the river behind his village where he used to catch fish with his bare hands. Listened to every word. She asked questions about things she did not understand. What does rice taste like? How do fish swim? Why do humans live in families? Each question made think about things he had always taken for granted. "Your world sounds wonderful," said when he finally stopped talking, "full of life and color and love." "It is not perfect," admitted. "There is also pain, sadness, war. Humans are not always good." "I know," said. "I have read about human history. It is violent, cruel, full of death." Felt shame rise in his chest. She was right. Human history was full of terrible things. Wars that killed millions. Hate that destroyed whole nations. Greed that burned forests and poisoned oceans. "But that is not all you are," said gently. "I can feel it. There is darkness in your kind, yes, but there is also light, so much light. You love fiercely. You hope endlessly. You fight for each other even when there is no hope. I have never seen anything like it." Looked at her. Her silver eyes were soft now, almost kind. "My people live for a very long time," she continued. "Hundreds of your years. We are careful, we plan, we do not take risks, but humans," she shook her head slowly. "Humans burn so bright. You live such short lives, but you fill them with so much. It is frightening." "Frightening?" asked. "Yes," said, "because it makes me want things I should not want." Did not ask what things. He was not sure he wanted to know, but his heart was beating faster now, and his tiredness seemed very far away. "I have told you about my world," he said. "Tell me about yours." Smiled that small smile again. "My world is cold," she began, "and quiet, very quiet. We do not laugh like your kind, we do not cry. We feel things, but we keep them inside. We are like still water. That sounds peaceful, said. It is, agreed. But it is also empty. I did not know how empty until I came here, until I felt what your kind feels. The joy, the anger, the love. It is like a storm inside you, wild and dangerous and beautiful. She reached out her hand toward him. Her fingers stopped just inches from his face. She did not touch him but could feel something anyway, a warmth, a connection, like she was reaching into his soul. You are tired, she said softly, but you are also kind, I can feel it. You have a good heart. Did not know what to say. No one had ever said that to him before. He was just a worker, just a man who moved boxes. But in this moment, in this dark room with this strange woman, he felt like something more. Stay, said, stay and talk with me. The night is long and I am tired of being alone. Should have said no. He should have left and gone back to his own cold, empty room, but he did not. Okay, he said quietly, I will stay. And smiled. The hours passed slowly in that dark room, lost track of time. The station had no real day or night. Only the lights changing from bright to dim told people when to sleep and when to wake. But here, in this room, time seemed to stop. There was only the soft glow of starlight and the quiet sound of their voices. They talked about everything, small things and big things, simple things and strange things, had never talked so much in his life, but with the words just came out. It felt natural, easy, like breathing. Wanted to know about human food, tried to explain the taste of his mother's cooking, the smell of rice fresh from the pot, the salty sweetness of the sauce she made with her own hands, the way a meal with family felt different from eating alone, listened with her eyes half closed like she was trying to taste the food through his words. She wanted to know about human music too. Was not a singer, but he hummed a song his grandmother used to sing. It was an old song, simple and sad, about a man who loved a woman he could never have. Silver eyes grew wide as she listened. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. Your music carries feeling, she finally said. On my world we have sounds, but not like this. Our songs are mathematical, perfect in form, but yours hurt. Hurt? Asked, confused. In a good way, explained. Like when you press on a wound that is healing, it hurts but it also feels real, alive. Thought about that. He had never considered music as something that hurt, but maybe she was right. The best songs were the ones that made you feel something deep inside, something you could not put into words. Tell me about love, said suddenly. His face grew warm. Love. Yes, human love, tilted her head in that bird-like way. I have read about it. I have seen it in your films and stories, but I do not understand it. My people do not love the way you do. How do your people do it? Asked carefully. We bond, said simply. When we find a suitable partner, we form a connection. It is logical, practical. We stay together because it makes sense, because our families agree, because our children will be strong. That sounds cold, said without thinking. Then he caught himself. I am sorry, I did not mean. No, interrupted. You are right, it is cold. I did not know how cold until I came here, until I saw how humans love. She looked out the window again. The stars seemed to dance in her silver eyes. I watched a human couple once, she said quietly. They were workers on this station. They would meet in the hallways between shifts, just for a few minutes. They would hold hands and look at each other like nothing else existed, like the whole universe was just the two of them. New couples like that. He had seen them too. He had always felt a little jealous of them. One day the man was hurt in an accident, continued. A container fell on him. He was in the medical bay for weeks. The woman came every day. She sat by his bed and held his hand and talked to him even when he could not hear. She did not eat well. She did not sleep well. She put all of herself into caring for him. That is what love is, said softly. You care more about someone else than you care about yourself. But why? Asked. She turned to face him and her eyes were filled with something like frustration. It makes no sense. The woman hurt herself to help the man. She made herself weak. In my culture, that would be foolish, dangerous. Thought carefully before answering. This was not an easy question. Love is not logical, he said finally. It does not follow rules. When you love someone, you do not think about what makes sense. You just feel you want them to be happy. You want them to be safe, even if it costs you something. Even if it costs you everything? Asked. Yes, said, even then. Was quiet. She looked at him for a long moment, her silver eyes searching his face. Have you ever loved someone like that? She asked. Felt his heart squeeze. Memories came to him, old memories he had tried to forget. Once, he admitted, a long time ago, before I came to the station. What happened? Did not want to talk about it, but something about made him want to be honest. Maybe it was her silver eyes. Maybe it was the darkness of the room. Maybe it was just because she was the first person to really listen to him in years. Her name was Myra, he said. His voice was low and rough. We grew up together in my village. She was my best friend. Then she was more than my friend. I thought we would be together forever. But you were not, said gently. No, shook his head. She got sick, a disease that had no cure. I stayed with her until the end. I held her hand when she died. She was 24 years old. The words hurt to say. Even after all these years, they still hurt. Felt a burning in his eyes. He blinked it away. He would not cry, not here, not now. I am sorry, said softly. There was real pain in her voice, real sympathy. I did not mean to cause you suffering. It is okay, said. It was a long time ago, but it is why I came to the station. After she died, I could not stay on Earth. Everything there reminded me of her, so I left. You ran away, said. Yes, admitted, I ran away. They sat in silence for a while. Outside, the stars kept moving. Inside, the darkness felt heavier than before. I understand now, said finally, why humans are the way you are. You love so deeply because you have so little time. You burn so bright because you know you will burn out. Maybe, said, or maybe we are just foolish. No, shook her head. Not foolish, brave. It takes courage to love when you know you will lose. It takes strength to open your heart when you know it will be broken. She stood up from her chair. For a moment, thought she was going to ask him to leave. But instead, she walked to the window and stood there, looking out at the stars. My people are afraid of humans, she said quietly. We have always been afraid. You are so loud, so wild, so full of feeling. We do not understand you, but I think we are also jealous of you. Jealous? Asked. Yes, turned to look at him over her shoulder. Her pale face was beautiful in the starlight. We live for hundreds of years, but we never truly live. We keep ourselves safe and cold and empty. We never know the joy of burning bright. We never know the pain of losing what we love. We exist, but we do not feel. She turned back to the window. Her voice was barely a whisper now. Until I came here, until I felt what humans feel, and now I want more. I want to burn like you do. I want to love and lose and feel everything. It terrifies me. Stood up slowly. His tired body complained, but he ignored it. He walked to the window and stood beside her, close but not touching. The stars stretched out before them like an endless ocean of light. You do not have to be afraid, he said gently. Feeling things is hard, loving is hard, but it is also the most beautiful thing in the universe. It is what makes life worth living. Turned to face him. They were standing very close now. He could see every detail of her face. The silver of her eyes, the pale curve of her lips, the soft glow of her skin. Will you teach me? She asked. Her voice was small, almost like a child's. Will you show me how to feel? His heart was beating hard. He did not know what to say. This was not something he had ever expected, not something he had ever prepared for. But as he looked into her silver eyes, he knew his answer. Yes, he said, I will try. And in the starlight smiled. The night grew deeper. The station lights dimmed even more, until only the emergency strips along the floor glowed with a faint blue light. But in its room, the stars outside provided all the light they needed. Had moved from the window back to his chair, but something had changed between them. The air felt different now, warmer, closer, like the walls of the room had shrunk and brought them together. Sat on the floor near his feet, her long dress spread around her like water. It was a strange position for a diplomat, for someone so important and powerful, but she looked comfortable there, natural, like she had been waiting her whole life to sit like this. "Tell me more about human feelings," she said. Her silver eyes looked up at him with hunger, not the hunger of the body but the hunger of the soul. She wanted to understand. She needed to understand. "What do you want to know?" asked. "Everything," said simply. Laughed softly. It was the first time he had laughed in weeks, maybe months. The sound surprised him. It felt strange in his throat, like a muscle he had forgotten how to use. "That would take a lifetime," he said. "Then start with something small," said. "Start with happiness. What makes humans happy?" Thought about it. Happiness was such a simple word, but it meant so many different things. "Small things make us happy," he said slowly. "A warm meal when you are hungry, a soft bed when you are tired, the sound of someone saying your name with kindness." "Those things make content too," said. "But content is not happy. Content is quiet still. Happy seems different. Happy seems loud." "Yes," agreed. "Happy is loud. Happy is when you cannot keep the feeling inside, when it spills out of you like light, when you want to run or dance or shout." "I have never felt that," said quietly. "I have never wanted to shout." "Maybe you will," said, "someday." Looked at him with those searching silver eyes. "What about sadness? What makes humans sad?" Smile faded. Sadness was easier to describe. He knew it too well. "We are sad when we lose things," he said. "People, places, time. We are sad when things end, when we know something beautiful will not last forever." "But everything ends," said. "That is the nature of the universe. Why be sad about something that must happen?" "Because we want it to last," explained. "Even when we know it cannot, we want the good moments to go on forever. We want the people we love to stay with us always, and when they do not, it hurts." Nodded slowly. She seemed to be processing his words carefully, turning them over in her mind like precious stones. "And anger," she asked. "What about anger?" Felt his jaw tighten just thinking about it. Anger was something he knew well too. "Anger comes when things are not fair," he said. "When someone hurts us or hurts people we care about. When we see wrong things happening and we cannot stop them. Anger is like a fire. It can keep you warm and give you strength, but it can also burn you from the inside." "I have seen angry humans," said. "On the news screens they scare me. Their faces change, their bodies shake, they become like animals." "Anger can be dangerous," admitted. "It can make us do things we regret, but it can also push us to fight for what is right. It can give us the power to protect what we love." "Your feelings are all connected," observed. "Happiness and sadness, love and anger, they are all parts of the same thing." "Yes," said, "they are all parts of being human." Was quiet for a long moment. Then she did something unexpected. She reached out and touched his hand. Her fingers were cool against his skin, not cold but cool, like the surface of a river on a warm day. Felt a shock run through him, not a painful shock, something else, something electric and strange. He looked down at her hand on his, then up at her face. "What do you feel right now?" she asked softly. Tried to find the words. His heart was beating fast. His skin was tingling where she touched him. His mind was both clear and confused at the same time. "I feel nervous," he said honestly, "and curious, and something else I do not have a word for." "I feel it too," whispered, "through you. It is like a wave washing over me, warm and strange and beautiful." She moved closer. Her face was only inches from his now. He could see the tiny flecks of blue in her silver eyes. He could smell that soft, sweet scent again, flowers he had never seen. "My people would say this is dangerous," she said. "They would say I am risking too much, feeling too much, getting too close to a human." "What do you say?" asked. His voice was barely above a whisper. "I say I do not care what my people think," replied. "Not anymore, not tonight." She lifted her other hand and placed it gently on his chest, right over his heart. Knew she could feel it beating, fast and hard, like a drum announcing war. "Your heart is so loud," she said with wonder in her voice. "It beats so strongly, like it is trying to break free." "It always beats like this," lied. It did not. It only beat like this now, because of her. Smiled, it was not the small smile from before. This was a real smile, wide and bright and full of joy. It transformed her face completely. She looked young, happy, alive. "You are lying," she said. "I can feel it, but I do not mind. I like that your heart beats fast because of me." Could not help it. He smiled back at her, a real smile that reached his eyes and lit up his tired face. "You are learning human feelings very quickly," he said. "I have a good teacher," she replied. They stayed like that for a while, her hands on his hand and his heart, his eyes looking into her silver eyes, the stars watching them through the window like 1,000 silent witnesses. "In the morning you will have to go," said finally. "You have work, I have duties. We will have to pretend this night never happened." "Will we?" asked. Smile faded slightly. "We must. My people would not understand. Your people would not understand. We come from different worlds, different lives. This night is just a dream. A beautiful dream that will end when the lights come on." Felt a pain in his chest, the familiar pain of loss, of knowing something good would not last. "Then let us make it a good dream," he said. "Let us fill it with as much as we can, so that when we wake up we will have something to remember." Silver eyes shimmered. For a moment thought she might cry, but did not cry. Instead, she leaned forward and rested her head against his shoulder. "Tell me more about Earth," she whispered. "Tell me about the rain and the rainbows and the rivers full of fish. Tell me about your mother's cooking and your grandmother's songs. Tell me everything. I want to remember it all." So talked. He talked until his voice was rough and his throat was dry. He talked about everything he could remember, every happy memory, every sad memory, every moment that had made him who he was. And through it all listened. She listened with her whole being. She felt every word. She lived every story through his emotions. By the time he finished, the station lights were starting to brighten again. Morning was coming. Their dream was ending. But neither of them moved. Neither of them wanted it to end. Not yet, not ever. "Thank you," said softly, her head still on his shoulder. "Thank you for giving me this night. Thank you for showing me what it means to feel." "Thank you for letting me stay," replied. "Thank you for listening. No one has listened to me like that in a very long time." They sat together in the growing light, holding on to the last moments of their stolen night. Two people from different worlds, two souls that should never have met. But they had, and nothing would ever be the same again. The station lights reached full brightness. The night cycle was over. Somewhere in the metal corridors, workers were waking up. Alarms were ringing. The great machine of the station was coming back to life. Sat in the chair, his body stiff from not moving, had lifted her head from his shoulder, but she had not moved far. She sat beside him now, their arms touching. Neither of them wanted to break the connection. "I should go," said. The words felt heavy in his mouth. Wrong. He did not want to say them, but he knew he must. "Yes," agreed. Her voice was flat, empty, like all the warmth had drained out of her. "You should go." But neither of them moved. Outside the window, the station had rotated enough that Earth was now visible. It hung in the darkness like a blue and green jewel. Beautiful, distant, home. "I have to report for work in 1 hour," said. "If I am late, they will ask questions." Yes, said again. Still, they did not move. Turned to look at her. In the bright light she looked different, more alien. Her pale skin was almost too perfect. Her silver eyes were too bright. She was beautiful, but she was not human. She never would be. And yet he did not want to leave her. Last night was, he started, but he could not find the words. It was everything finished for him. She turned to face him and he saw that her silver eyes were wet. Not tears, could not cry, but something like tears, something close. I have lived for over 200 years, she said quietly. I have seen stars born and die. I have walked on worlds that humans have never heard of. I have met creatures of every shape and size. But last night was the most alive I have ever felt. Felt his heart breaking, a slow, painful crack down the middle. He had felt this before, when Myra died, when he left Earth, when he realized he was alone in the universe. But this was different, this was worse. Because this time the person was right in front of him and he still could not keep her. What happens now, he asked. Do we just forget? We try, said, but her voice shook slightly. We go back to our lives, you move your boxes, I do my diplomacy. We pass each other in the hallways and pretend we are strangers. That is what must happen. Is it? Asked. Something was building in his chest, something hot and fierce. That human fire had talked about. Is that really what must happen? Looked at him with surprise. What do you mean? I mean, stood up suddenly. His tired body screamed in protest, but he ignored it. He walked to the window and looked out at Earth, at the stars, at the infinite universe spread out before him. I came to this station because I was running away, he said. I lost someone I loved and I could not face the pain, so I ran. I hid myself in work and routine. I stopped feeling. I stopped living. I was just existing. He turned back to face. She was watching him with wide eyes. But last night you made me feel again, he continued. You made me remember what it was like to be alive, to talk, to share, to connect with another person. I do not want to lose that. I do not want to go back to being empty. And whispered. I know it is impossible, he said. I know your people would not approve. I know my people would not understand. I know we are from different worlds and different lives, but I do not care. I want to see you again. I want to talk with you again. I want to feel this way again. He walked toward her, slowly, carefully, like approaching a wild animal that might run away at any moment. Tell me you do not want that too, he said. Tell me last night meant nothing. Tell me to leave and never come back, and I will, I promise. But if you want me to stay, if you want to try, then say something, please. Stood up, she was trembling slightly. Her silver eyes were fixed on his face. For a long moment, she did not speak. The silence stretched between them like a wire pulled tight. Then she reached out and took his hand. Your kind is strange, she said softly. You burn so bright and so fast. You love with all your hearts even when it hurts. You take risks that my people would never take. You are foolish and wild and dangerous. She stepped closer. Her face was inches from his. And I want to be foolish too, she whispered. I want to burn, I want to feel. I want to love even if it breaks me. I have been cold for 200 years. I do not want to be cold anymore. Felt something release in his chest. The tight knot of fear and pain and loneliness that had lived there for so long. It dissolved like ice in warm water. In its place, something new grew, something bright and warm and alive. We will have to be careful, he said. No one can know, at least not at first. I know, said. It will be hard, we will have to steal moments, hide in the shadows, pretend in public. I know. Your people might never accept it. My people might think I am crazy. I know. Smiled a real smile, the kind he had not smiled in years. Then I guess we're both crazy, he said. Smiled back, that wide, bright smile that lit up her whole face. I guess we are. She reached up and touched his face. Her cool fingers traced the line of his jaw, the curve of his cheek, the corner of his smile. "I must ask you something," she said. "Anything. When you leave this room, will you come back? Will you find me again?" Looked into her silver eyes. He saw hope there, fear, love, all the human emotions she had learned in one night, all the feelings she had been afraid of for 200 years. "Yes," he said, "I will come back tonight, tomorrow, every night you will have me, I promise." "Humans break promises," said, but she was still smiling. "Some do," admitted, "but not me, not to you, not ever." He lifted her hand from his face and held it in both of his, her cool skin against his warm palms, two different worlds touching. "I do not know what the future holds," he said. "I do not know if this will work. I do not know if we will be happy or sad or somewhere in between, but I know one thing." "What?" asked. "I know that last night I walked into the wrong room, and it was the best mistake I ever made." Laughed. It was a soft sound, like bells ringing in the distance. It was the first time he had heard her laugh. "Then I am glad you are bad at reading door numbers," she said. Laughed too. The sound mixed with hers, human and alien together, filling the small room. Then slowly, reluctantly, he let go of her hand. "I have to go," he said, "but I will be back tonight after my shift." "I will wait," said. "I have waited 200 years. I can wait a few more hours." Walked to the door. He pressed the panel and it slid open with a soft hiss. The bright lights of the hallway flooded in. The real world called to him. He looked back one more time. Stood by the window, her pale skin glowing in the starlight. She looked like something from a dream, something beautiful and impossible and real. "Goodbye," she said. "Not goodbye," he replied. "Never goodbye, just see you later." And with that he stepped out into the hallway. The door closed behind him. The night was over. But for something new had begun. Something that would change his life forever. Something that started with a wrong room, a tired man, and an alien woman who did not ask him to leave. He smiled as he walked back to his section. The station did not seem so cold anymore. The work did not seem so heavy. The future did not seem so empty. He had found something in the darkness, something unexpected, something wonderful. He had found her, and he would never let her go.